Hi, this is Tracy from KOGmissions.com. Welcome to Simple Bible Truth. I hope to encourage you in your faith and inspire you to seek truth, to love God, and to obey Jesus. Have you ever thought about what happens when you die, or if there's life after death? Is there reward for the righteous or punishment for the wicked, and when would that happen? These are all good and very important questions for us to think about. Most professing Christians will tell you that when you die, part of you, or you, goes to heaven or hell. Some believe in an in-between state known as purgatory, which is not even mentioned in the Bible. Fortunately, the Bible does tell us about the state of the dead, what happens when we die, and about our reward, which is actually the resurrection. But first we must ask ourselves, are we going to believe the traditions of men, what religion and the church teach us, or are we going to believe what Jesus himself taught and what the Bible tells us? You need to make that decision for yourself. The Bible is quite clear on what happens when we die. We return back to the dust, the ground. We're actually dead. Science even confirms this, that we return back to dust when we die. Our body decomposes. In other words, we are dead and in our grave. There is no thought, no consciousness, no going anywhere else. And if we're not resurrected, we remain dead. The Bible teaches us that there's going to be two resurrections. We can get into more of the details in another video, but right now we just want to talk briefly about the two resurrections. The first resurrection is for those who are considered righteous, those who have died in faith. And when Jesus returns to the earth, it says that those who have died in faith, those people will be resurrected and given immortality. It also tells us that if we are alive at his coming, we will be changed in the twinkling of an eye and also be made immortal at that time. Resurrection and immortality for the righteous, that is our reward. That is what we have to look forward to. We are going to govern the world with Jesus for 1,000 years. We can talk more about that later as well. And those of us who have been resurrected or changed at that time of Christ, we will be able to help manage the world with him. We'll be able to teach people about the one true God, his Father and our Father, and about the way we should be living our lives. It's actually quite simple, and it does make a lot of sense. And we can understand, our minds that God gave us can understand that from conception and birth until the time that we die, that's what we have right now to live. And we can talk more about living that life later as well. But then we are either resurrected in the first resurrection or in the second resurrection. And our goal should be in the first resurrection. We don't want to miss out on that. And we have to think about it as well. If God could create Adam from nothing, I think it'll be quite simple to bring somebody back to life from the dust of the ground that has already been created at one point. We will be ruling with Christ for that 1,000 years. Satan will be bound. We're going to talk more about this later as well. But this truly is a political and spiritual kingdom that Jesus will be governing over the entire earth, over all nations. And God will give him the authority to do that. And it tells us that Jesus will share that authority with us. We are going to be part of his team, part of his government. And after that 1,000 years, it tells us that the rest of the dead are then resurrected at that time. Those who were not resurrected at the first resurrection, and those who will be dying during the 1,000 years. Everybody at that time will stand before Jesus, the righteous judge. And it says that they will be judged according to what they have done. Some people will receive immortality at that time. Other people will be thrown into the lake of fire, which is total destruction. Unfortunately, many churches and religions confuse people about hell. Actually, there are 3 different words in the New Testament in Greek that are translated hell into English. The hell that most people think about of fire and brimstone is Gehenna. And that is the hell that it says is prepared for the false prophet, the Antichrist, even Satan. But it's also for the wicked, those who choose not to follow Christ and to love God and obey them. So at that second resurrection, people will be judged accordingly. But what's very interesting, this lake of fire, Gehenna, hell, is a very, very stark difference from what most churches teach. It is not a fire that burns forever and ever, torturing people on into the ages. It actually is destruction. People are thrown in the fire, destroyed, and even the memory of them, people remembering them, will disappear. It'll be gone, and they will no longer exist. There is no hope for a future resurrection. They're done. They lived their life, they were judged, and they're done, and there's no more hope. But for those of us who will accept what Jesus taught and believe and obey, we have a great future ahead of us that we can't even imagine. And we will be talking about that in the next video. So please join us to learn more about this wonderful kingdom hope that Jesus spent his entire ministry talking about. He says that is the reason why he was sent, to tell people about this and to urge them to believe and to follow and obey. He even spent the last 40 days after he was resurrected, before he went up into heaven, talking about the kingdom of God. And so if that message was important for him, it ought to be important for us as well. God bless, and I hope to see you soon.